Hello everyone, this is the finale of What If Naruto Left Konoha, and I hope you guys enjoy this video and to like, to subscribe, to share, and check out the playlist, to see more comment down below. Now let's start the intro.
They call me a god. They call me a god. They call me a god.
Join my membership, the perks are great. It's in the description. Naruto watched Sakura go her own way for a brief moment, before turning in the direction of the explosion. He quickly made his way there, but was stopped by someone jumping down in front of him. The trademark Akatsuki cloak gave him away right away. Uchiha Itachi, Naruto spat, glaring angrily. Itachi didn't move an inch, his Sharingan active, silently studying Naruto to see if he could find any weaknesses. What the hell are you doing here, Uchiha? Come to finish off your clan. Itachi murmured, tensing. In a blink, Itachi was in front of Naruto, ready to bring his kunai down. Naruto uttered a curse and grabbed a kunai for himself, blocking the assault. Itachi jumped back 2 meters, in a defensive position. Naruto took off after him, bringing out another kunai and engaging Itachi in a taijutsu fight. Naruto brought his left hand down, the kunai in a reverse grip, and tried to swipe at Itachi. Itachi blocked it with a bit of difficulty but managed to nick Naruto on his left forearm. Naruto didn't even notice the nick and proceeded in his assault. Itachi swung a punch, but missed as Naruto crouched down and then shot his leg out. He managed to kick Itachi in the shin, hard, and Itachi stumbled back slightly. He ignored the pain and shot at Naruto again, this time throwing the kunai before completing some seals and uttering Shadow Kunai no Jutsu. The kunai multiplied into many and Naruto was hard-pressed to block all of them, which he did. He didn't expect, however, for Itachi to follow up with a fire release, Searing Dragon no Jutsu. Cursing loudly, he crossed his arms in front of himself and let the jutsu hit. Itachi landed on the ground, seeing Naruto get hit with his jutsu, and wondered if he was out or not. Just as he was about to go and check, the flames went out rather abruptly and there stood Naruto, his tails flared and dense. He growled animalistically, and shot forwards at impossible speeds. Itachi didn't even have time to blink when he was suddenly shot backwards, through 3 trees before he tumbled to a stop. He struggled to breathe, and got up rather slowly. Naruto was breathing hard, how he hated Itachi. Before he went after Itachi again, he felt a hand on his shoulder. He turned to see Sasuke there, his Sharingan activated. Naruto could see the final stage of the Sharingan, just one below the Mangekyo, and it was burning in hatred at the sight of his elder brother. Let me and Kakashi take care of him, Naruto. You're needed elsewhere. Orochimaru must have caught wind of this invasion and decided to put his own 2 cents into the equation. Sasuke said, not taking his eyes off his hated brother. So, Naruto wiped his mouth free of the dribble of bee that came from the corner of his mouth. Lady Tsunade and Ero Sennin can take care of him. They are busy with the other Akatsuki, and besides that, Sasuke paused, suddenly wary of something. Naruto had a sinking feeling. I'm afraid for Sakura. She's not as strong as us and is at risk with Orochimaru around. He might use her for bait. You should go and find her, make sure she's okay. Naruto nodded and leaped off right away, but not before giving Sasuke a grateful look. Sasuke almost completely ignored him and concentrated on Kakashi, who put his book away and slid his hitai up. You ready? Kakashi asked, getting a kunai out. Sasuke answered and shot off, Kakashi right behind him. Sakura exited her house, her fighting clothes on and her weapons pouch on her hip and around her leg. She cracked her knuckles before jumping onto the roof and following the unmistakable chakra signature of Tsunade. When she found her sensei, she was fighting head-to-head with Orochimaru. The smirking snake was having no problem keeping up with her. Without even glancing at her, Tsunade yelled, Sakura. Go help the others. I've got this traitorous snake. Sakura was a bit reluctant, but complied and was about to jump away when her whole bee froze up. She could no longer feel her bee, and she crumpled to the ground. Hurry Kabuto. I need that girl. Orochimaru yelled, keeping Tsunade busy. No, Sakura. Tsunade screamed. She looked to Jiraiya, who had just arrived, and screamed at him to get to Sakura. Kabuto picked up Sakura's limp bee and teleported out of there before Jiraiya had a chance to move. Jiraiya cursed and began to assault Orochimaru when he, too, disappeared, slinking into the ground. Before the duo could try to pinpoint Orochimaru, 3 members of the Akatsuki appeared. This should be fun. What do you think, Hidden? I agree, Kakazu. Deidara. My art wants to play. Let's go, the blonde replied, smirking. Mirroring his smirk, Hidden and Kakazu shot forward, already activating their jutsus. Naruto was easily defeating one of the lower members of the Akatsuki. The nin was from Grass Village, A rank, his had no real specialty, so he was easy to pick off. He created 50 shadow clones, and gave them orders to help out anyone in need. They all nodded and left, save one. Impatiently wiping some beer away from his eyes, he scanned his surroundings with quick, inquisitive eyes. His anger rose to unprecedented levels when he saw Kabuto smirking at him with a limp Sakura in his arms. Naruto. Sakura screamed as Kabuto jumped away. Sakura. Naruto screamed back, taking off after Kabuto, his eyes red. Naruto stopped abruptly when 2 Akatsuki members jumped down in front of him, one with red hair, and one with scaly blue skin. Move or S. Naruto screamed in his demon-influenced state. Red chakra swirled around him madly, and tails dense, and his ears, fully grown, were flat against his head. Unconsciously, the 2 stepped back, the K intent bearing down on them in tsunami-sized waves. Both of them blinked, and at that moment, the redhead gasped. The blonde had appeared right in front of him, and was smirking. Frowning, he looked down, and saw what he was smug about. He whipped his head up, eyes wide as saucers. Naruto's smirk grew, and he squeezed. Sasori. The blue-skinned missing nin yelled, grounding his teeth in pure rage. He pulled the wrapped item on his back, and held it out in front of him. This is Samehada, it doesn't see, it shaves. He announced and hurtled forward, anger guiding his actions. Naruto waited there, eyes closed, and his fist crushing the now still organ. Right before the blue nin bore his sword down on him, Naruto disappeared. The blue nin stopped, flabbergasted before whirling around. Naruto was there, but in his right hand, was a thin katana, which was raised above his head. Before the mist nin could do anything, Naruto asked, "What is your name?" The mist nin blinked before smirking and replying, "Kisame Hoshigaki, why brat? Want to know the name of your K?" Naruto returned the smirk, excruciating pain and death promised by it, and he answered, "No, I want to know the name of my prey." K intent like none Kisame had ever encountered paralyzed him on the spot. He looked on in fear as Naruto slowly got closer, his death-promised smirk still on his face. Naruto raised the katana further and Kisame closed his eyes, sure he was going to Shing. Kisame opened his eyes to see, to his surprise, that Naruto put the katana back into its sheath. He tosses it away and turned to leave, not letting the K intent go. "Hey!" Kisame yelled, angry. "You coward! Don't you dare run away from me!" Naruto didn't even turn, he just stopped and stated, "You are already S." Kisame was confused. He's still talking, and if this stupid K intent that damn blonde bimbo was emitting, he would be able to move and K him. "Hey, I'll show you. Just let me move, and then we'll see who's S." Kisame yelled, smirking. Naruto shrugged one shoulder and the K intent went down considerably. Kisame's smirk grew wider as he took the first step. Naruto didn't even stop, he just kept going. Once he got to the forest, he jumped into the trees, and sped up his pace, leaving behind 2 mutilated corpses. The younger Uchiha was panting, almost out of chakra. Kakashi was currently busy keeping Itachi busy while Sasuke rested, and that he did. He was almost peeved about getting help, but he realized soon into the fight that he would never be able to win no matter how hard he tried, so now, he welcomed the help. He watched the fight intently, knowing that Itachi had the upper hand, no matter how hard Kakashi tried. Even with only one Sharingan, a well-trained one at that, he cannot land a direct blow on Itachi. Sasuke thought quickly, trying to think of a way to defeat Itachi. That's it. But there is no way he can get it. He'd have to think of a different way. But, how? Kabuto landed in a clearing some distance from Konoha, not too far, but far enough for no help to show up unless other circumstances occurred. He ran up to Orochimaru, who smirked and did some hand signs, ending quickly, and putting his forefinger to Sakura's forehead. She fell unconscious, limp in Kabuto's arms, whilst Kabuto was surrounded in what was left of the Sound Four. There were only 3 of them, and they all created a triangle-shaped barrier, with them inside, making sure there was no way anyone could get in and rescue their hostage. Good work, stay there for further orders. And if something happens to our guest, you will pay with your lives. Orochimaru said silkily, adding the tiniest hint of venom to the words. They all gulped and nodded. His tails were staticky, twitching, his ears flat on his head, whisker marks defined, more so than before, crimson slit eyes burning in rage, fangs bared in a barely held back snarl, and fingernails, sharpened to perfection, were poised and ready. He stood in a half crouch, lowering himself down to the ground, and snarled at Orochimaru before spotting his target. He almost let down his guard when he saw she was fine, beside being out of it. His eyes swiftly returned to Orochimaru when he suddenly shot forwards, a huge smirk on his serpentine face. Naruto snarled and also shot forwards, running on all 4s. Red chakra swirled around his body as he swiped at the snake. Orochimaru stopped short, and held his arms out, snakes shooting out of his arms and around Naruto's bee. Most of them bit him, in hopes of paralyzing him, but he was too far gone in rage. Flinging all of them off, K-most, Naruto dug his claws into the ground and propelled himself forward, subconsciously creating many clones to help. He was not going to lose the only thing that loved him for who he was, and did not hate him for what he bore. Sasuke was on one knee, glaring hatefully at his elder brother. Itachi was also panting, but not as hard as Sasuke. You have gotten better, Sasuke, but it is not enough. Where is your hate? I want to feel your hate for me, your longing to claim revenge against me, for our clan. Don't you love our clan? Itachi asked monotonously, casting a fleeting glance at the copy nin who was kneeling on the ground, looking at a spot on the ground. Itachi had gotten him with the Mangekyo, and now, most likely, his mind was lost, somewhere, until he either brought himself back, or someone healed him. Sasuke glared at Itachi, his hatred increasing with every word he said. Still looking at Kakashi, Itachi continued, you remember when you always wanted to be like me, Sasuke? Always wanting attention from our Oto-sama. Tell me, foolish little brother, why did you want to be recognized by him? Sasuke froze. Why did he want attention from his Oto-sama? Because you were always getting the attention. You were always so perfect. All everyone talked about was how much honor and respect you were bringing the clan. Why didn't Oto-sama pay attention to me, the one who wanted it, needed it, craved it? Sasuke yelled, clenching his fists. Itachi just smirked and didn't answer. He just kept staring at Kakashi intently, ignoring Sasuke completely. That's what he hated the most, being ignored. But being ignored by the person you hate the most is just something Sasuke couldn't handle. He shot up and swiftly charged at Itachi, his Sharingan whirling madly. Neither of them noticed the rapidly approaching chakra signatures. Not even Itachi, who was taking a walk down memory road, something he rarely did. Not even Sasuke, who was so far in his anger and rage, the need to revenge his clan clouding his senses. Not even Kakashi, whose mask was slowly darkening from drool. Right before Sasuke got to his target, a black blur flew out of the forest, elbow embedded into the back of Itachi's N. The black blur then bounced off the now still body of Itachi and flipped over, landing roughly on all 4s. Orochimaru jumped out of the forest, forcing Naruto to jump out of his landing site. Orochimaru smirked as he slowly drove Naruto back, and Naruto snarling animalistically. Sasuke, whose instincts took over a moment before Naruto flew out of the forest, jumped back, out of the way, and watched in fascination as Naruto defended himself against the snake Sannin. Jealousy bubbled up in him for a moment before he quickly squished it. He had other matters to deal with. An evil smirk wormed its way onto his porcelain features. Oh, this was going to be fulfilling. Naruto snarled again when Orochimaru landed a hit on his left shoulder. He had various C and gashes all over his B, but he was still good to go for a few hours. He realized with a smirk that Orochimaru was sagging slightly and panting heavily. He certainly wasn't going to last longer. Orochimaru lunged forward again, many of his attacks missing due to exhaustion and the fact that Naruto was simply faster than him. None of that mattered right at the moment. All that mattered was shepherding his target into his trap, which was just a little farther ahead. He continued with his unrelenting attacks. Sure, he was tired, really tired, But as soon as his prey was in that trap of his, he won't have to worry about it anymore. Naruto figured something was wrong. Orochimaru was indeed exhausted, but instead of retreating like he usually did, he kept attacking. His attacks were becoming ridiculously easy to dodge, and it was even easier to hit him. Naruto was about to finish the battle when he felt something grab his arms and legs. What the hell? He thought as he flew back and hit a tree. Something was wrapping around his body swiftly, binding him to the tree. He struggled wildly, but it bore no fruit. He looked at Orochimaru and saw his smug expression. Kukaku looks like I've gotten my prey after all, Orochimaru purred, calmly walking to Naruto, who was still struggling. Don't worry, his won't hurt much, and you'll have a much more interesting life afterwards. Especially with you following my every command until I am ready to take your body. You bastard, Naruto choked out, trying to get out of his predicament. How could he be caught in such a cheesy trap? Oh right, because it's so damn cheesy. Let me go. Orochimaru scared, I don't think I'll be doing such a thing. As soon as you're under my command, I will use that pink-haired bee in an experiment. That's all she's ever going to be useful for. Naruto froze for a moment, all his struggling ceased. Orochimaru smirked and advanced, doing the hand signs for his newest curse seal. No, he didn't just say that. Naruto's rage was building. Through his rage, he saw Orochimaru advancing on him, making the hand signs for something. No, he never liked to be bossed around, even when Kyuubi was doing it. Orochimaru got closer, his smirk growing with every step. No, if Orochimaru succeeded, he would eventually be taken over. He will cease to exist. Closer, Naruto could see his fangs grow longer. No. If Orochimaru succeeded, Konoha, the village he has come to love, will be nothing but rubble. Closer, Naruto could smell his foul breath. No. If Orochimaru succeeded, Sakura, his beloved cherry blossom, will be used in a sick experiment. Closer, Naruto feel the heat radiating off the snake's body. Sakura, her screams of pain echoed in his head, Orochimaru's dark, maniacal laughter see through her screams. You can't do this without me, boy. I know, please, help me so I can save Sakura, so I can save Konoha. I don't care what happens afterward, I don't want Sakura to s. Something stirred in deep within Kyuubi's chest. Long forgotten memories surfaced, he was forced to remember. He closed his bee-red eyes as he remembered. The pain-filled cries of his mate and Kit. The pain that came after the death, the sound of his heart. The reason why they s. Kyuubi's eyes shot open. Naruto's eyes shot open. Both screamed with all their might. No. Red chakra exploded out of Naruto's body. Orochimaru, who had, unfortunately for him, grabbed Naruto's shoulders a moment before the chakra exploded, held on. He screamed in pure agony as his skin was burnt away from the demonic chakra. He tried to pull away, but his hands were stuck. Suddenly, the chakra reined itself in, and Orochimaru's blackened bee broke at the arms, where they stayed, and the rest of his bee crumbled. Calmly, Naruto walked forward, uncaringly stomping on the remains. His left arm came up, grabbing the arm carefully, as to look at it a moment, before squeezing and it shattered into ashes. He did the same to the other arm, before heading back to the one he loves. Sakura. What now, foolish little brother? Itachi mocked, obviously being a bad idea, seeing as he was tied tightly against a tree. Sasuke smirked, pulling out a kunai, and advanced on him. Itachi eyed him almost wearily, trying to figure out what he was going to do. Sasuke's smirk grew as his fully developed Sharingan activated. He knelt down in front of Itachi, looking at a spot just below his eyes, so he wouldn't be caught in that cursed eye. He brought the kunai up and traced Itachi's jawline, murmuring, I wonder just how well you'll cope when all your necessities suddenly vanish. Dread creeped up Itachi's spine at what his younger brother just said. What did he mean? Sasuke smirked, just think about it for a second, older brother. In the meantime, I'll think about what to remove first. Itachi did think about it, and then, when he realized what Sasuke was talking about. Oh no, he wouldn't do that. Would he? The even bigger smirk on Sasuke's face told him otherwise. Naruto finally made it back to the place where Sakura was taken before he began the fight with Orochimaru. Kabuto was still there, glaring at him, Sakura in his arms. Naruto kept his face passive, but his eyes would not leave Sakura's body. Naruto glared at him and growled, something that made him shiver subconsciously. He repressed further urges to shiver and said, such beauty, don't you think? I have a few ideas how to taint that beauty, one of which would be very fulfilling. The growl grew louder, and Naruto went on all fours, stalking towards Kabuto and the barrier he was behind. Kabuto smirked and laid Sakura down, rubbing her leg. Naruto snarled as he jumped at the barrier, but was repelled immediately. He tried again, but was repelled again, his hands steaming. Kabuto laughed cruelly as Naruto tried again and again to get to his love, but no matter how hard he tried, he will never get in. Give up, Naruto, and I'll make sure to be gentle. If you don't, I'll K her. Naruto stopped a moment, his eyes wide. Then, he glared and started up again. Stopping for a brief moment, Naruto asked Kyuubi, if I give you my body, will you save the one I love? Yes, I will. Fine, it's all yours. Grinning, Kyuubi immediately took control of Naruto's body, shoving Naruto into the farthest regions of his mind. A huge surge of chakra burst forward, coating Naruto's body. A 10th, and final tail grew, this one completely black, with a white tip. Naruto's eyes darkened, turning completely red with a single black slit in the middle, his nails grew sharp, his fangs elongated, and his whiskers darkened. All in all, he looked just like a demon. Kabuto stared at him in horror, drawing a chuckle from Kyuubi, now you'll know what happens when you taunt a demon. Sakura forgotten, Kabuto stood and backed away, fear eating away from him. Sasuke's head shot up at the massive spike in chakra. No, it was beyond massive, no human could possibly have that much chakra. He turned back to Itachi, his face bee from his bee eyes. Yes, Sasuke had taken away what made Itachi so famous, so hard to beat. Sasuke had gouged out his eyes. Itachi had screamed in pain, and Sasuke enjoyed it all. He smirked maliciously, kneeling in front of his brother, tiny whispered groans escaping his lips. Itachi, tonight, and I shall avenge what you took away from me. I took your eyes in payment of the pain you made me endure, made me relive what I couldn't escape, made me live my life in an unsightly way. But for the last part, it didn't work as well as you planned. Naruto. Naruto gave me a future. Naruto trained me, without holding back. Naruto treated me as Sasuke, not as an Uchiha. Naruto, who understood more than anyone, the simple, yet painful feeling of being alone. Naruto is my true brother, not you. Sasuke had his hand back, in it, a single kunai, aimed for Itachi's heart. He took a deep breath, and brought his hand down, and stopped. He couldn't. Why couldn't he? Why couldn't he K the one who made him suffer? Why? Taking in a shuddering breath, Sasuke fell on his ass. He threw the kunai away, as if it disgusted him. Why couldn't he K Itachi like he was a proper enemy? He could K, yes, he could K because that was the life of a shinobi. It was revolved around K. So why does he feel so disgusted at the thought of K another enemy? It hit him like a ton of bricks. His mind, without his permission, relayed what Naruto had told him, many months ago. Flashback. Okay, you guys, that's good enough for now. Make sure to jog back, and no walking or taking to the trees. I'll be right behind you. Their temporary sensei said. Sakura nodded and began to jog back. Sasuke was about to follow her. Actually, Sasuke, I need to talk to you, alone. Sasuke stopped in his tracks, and looked back at his sensei. Sakura looked back a moment, and then nodded, and kept going. Sasuke walked back to Naruto, who was sitting on a rock in the middle of their training field. He stood next to him for a while until Naruto patted the space beside himself. Sasuke took the offer after a moment. Naruto sighs, and kept looking at the scenery in front of them. I ask you as your sensei, Sasuke, that you will bear no grudge against me or lose your temper at what I am about to talk to you about. Just bear with me until we are finished. Sasuke's eyebrows furrowed in confusion and nodded, almost minuscule. Naruto still didn't look at him. I know what happened with you and your clan, and I ask you to please let go of your hatred for your brother. Sasuke bristled, but kept listening, a deep scowl on his face. I am not saying to forget what your brother did to you, and the pain that he's cost you, but please, forget about the hatred that's eating away at you. I don't know how your parents raised you, but I am certain they would not want you to hate your brother with the passion that you do. They would have wanted you to live your life happily, reviving the clan, and raising your own family. No parent could want their siblings at each other's tea, for family is all you're going to have. You can't pick and choose who your family is, no matter what anyone says. You're always going to have one brother, whether or not he is your only family left, and the fact that he left you alive says something. Naruto paused a moment, letting the information sink in. Sasuke felt his anger slowly dying, and understanding take root. Before he could say anything, Naruto continued. I know I have no right to say things like this, for what would I know? One who does not have any family whatsoever, one who does not even know if he has siblings, aunts, uncles, grandparents, cousins, a mother, a father. One who has had to take care of himself all his life, only relying on few people to help along the way, and for the most part, relying on only himself, trusting only himself. But I know what I told you, that you cannot choose your family. You can only cherish what you have, and live life the only way you know, happily. Sasuke soaked all this in, suddenly gaining a new respect for his sensei. He knew, better than anyone, what it was like to rely only on himself, to be alone. Again, before he could say anything, Naruto continued. And if you do not agree, think about this. Do you think you will be any better than Itachi if you carried out your revenge on your only living family? With that, Naruto got up and left, leaving Sasuke there to ponder his words. End flashback. Sasuke smiled at the words that remained in his mind, echoing over and over. No, I will not kill you Itachi, for that would make me sink to your level, and that's something you wanted, wasn't it? You wanted me to go mad with the guilt, and kill myself, successfully ending the Uchiha name. Well, you're not going to get the satisfaction of seeing me do that, you bastard. Sasuke laughed, long and hard, tears of mirth streaming out of his eyes. No, you shall live, and be placed in a cell for the rest of your life, and live with the guilt of our clan's death on your hands. Just as he finished his sentence, he felt another spike of chakra, from the same place. Deciding quickly, he made sure Itachi was tied extra tightly to his tree, knocked him out, and left for the spot where the chakra came from. Kyuubi chuckled, seeing the body of Kabuto shake uncontrollably. Both his arms were gone. Please, just kill me. Please, please, Kabuto begged. Kyuubi chuckled again, and shot his arm into Kabuto's stomach. Your death shall be slow and painful. Your annoying bloodline will not help you now, pathetic mortal. I hope to see you in hell, so I may be further amused by your screams. Kyuubi thoroughly enjoyed the look of utmost horror and fear on his face before he walked away. He heard a final gurgle before all was silent. He heard something land behind him and sensed a high amount of chakra. Not nearly as much as his, but enough for an amusing battle. He turned to see a man with a weird orange and black mask, with one spot for an eye hole, and other guy with a lot of piercing on his face, and ears. Kyuubi scowled, and crouched, watching them carefully. They smirked, not even processing the fact that this wasn't Naruto, but Kyuubi was in control. They were either stupid, or just completely blind. Come quietly, brat, or we will force you. The one with the piercing said. Kyuubi smirked, I am afraid that the human that used to jail me is no longer available. I shall enjoy your F for daring to even look at me with such disrespect, you pathetic mortal. Sasuke reached the place he felt the massive spikes in chakra. He quickly scanned the area with his Sharingan, and spotted Sakura a few meters away. He swiftly ran to her and sat her up. Sakura. Sakura, wake up. Sakura. Her eyes fluttered open, and then she bolted up straight. Sasuke narrowly missed getting head-butted. Naruto-kun. Sasuke-kun, where's Naruto-kun? We must find him. It was all a trap, I hope he is okay. Sasuke helped her to stand and said, slow down, Sakura. Don't get panicky, that won't help things. Now, I felt a massive spike in chakra a little bit ago, maybe 10 minutes, and it didn't feel like any human chakra, besides the fact that there was way too much for a single human to possess. Do you know anything about it? Sakura thought a moment, before understanding dawning on her features, yes. That's Naruto. Can you tell? Another massive chakra spike, one that made them drop to the ground wheezing, made itself known. Once again, it disappeared and as soon as she was on her feet, she was headed in the direction it came from. Sasuke was right behind her, hoping that Naruto was okay. In no time at all, the two that opposed him were in front of him, the glazed-over eyes staring up into the heavens as if asking to be let into their celestial presences. QB licked his hands, shuddering in ecstasy from the K and the taste of his prey. He sensed people behind him and grinned. More prey. Imagine his surprise when the two people Naruto cherished come barreling into the clearing. He smirked, and stood tall. They stop short when they see him, and both of them knew, almost instantly, that something was wrong. Their suspicions were proven correct when QB shot towards them, K intent bearing down on them in waves. QB reached Sakura first. He grinned when her face went from surprise to confusion, to finally fear. Raw fear. Sakura. Leave her alone, weakling. Sasuke screamed, ignoring the massive amount of K intent and standing up on both legs. QB looked at him oddly, and dropped Sakura, calmly walking towards Sasuke. Sasuke backed up unconsciously as he came closer. It's nice when my prey has some guts left to fighting. Too bad for you, boy, that weakling bag jailer of mine is no more. He has kindly given his body to me to save that pink thing over there, but he didn't say anything about keeping her alive. And for calling me, the QB no Yuko a weakling, you shall first, nice and slow. There isn't any room in my new realm for weakling humans such as yourself. QB barked in laughter, still advancing. Sasuke tripped over a rock. Pitiful, you disgusting humans always seem to think that nothing can stand in your way, that you are the highest in the food chain. Well, listen well, for you are not the highest, but among the lowest, like rabbits, rats, worms. You aren't worth anything, and your arrogance has gone on long enough. My brethren shall come out of hiding as soon as your greedy and haughty race has come to its end. Sasuke gasped for breath. He managed to choke out, you will never be able to do that, QB, do you know why? QB only smirked, why, oh mighty Uchiha. Because we are protecting the ones we love, and something like you will never be able to understand that, Right as he said that, QB howled in pain as he dropped Sasuke to the ground. Sakura immediately let go of the sword and ran to Sasuke, helping him stand up. They both backed up rather swiftly, not sure what was going to happen. Mindscape. Naruto was tied to the very back of the cage, his hair limp, his eyes dim. He watched QB face his friends and watched as he tried to K them. Anger welled up in his chest, how dare QB not keep his promise. Foxes were supposed to be honorary, not be. He began to struggle out of the bonds that kept him tied there. He felt shooting pain in his chest, and struggled to breathe. Suddenly, QB appeared in front of him, his breathing labored. He kept going, mumbling curses towards the mortals he hated so much. Naruto finally broke free from the bonds and ran at QB. QB wasn't aware of anything, just kept mumbling. He looked up just as Naruto was about to K him, his eyes full of pain from the memories that invaded his mind. Naruto hesitated, and brought his sword down, QB's head rolling away. Just like that, the cage disappeared, and Naruto felt himself being pulled out of his mind. Outside Mindscape, Sakura ran to Naruto's prone form, tears streaming down her face. Sasuke went on his other side and let his long withheld tears fall freely from his eyes. Just then, several other figures entered the clearing, and surrounded Naruto's body. Everyone was crying for the loss, everyone was asking, why? Sakura sat his body up and hugged him tightly, still crying. Everyone was about to turn to give them some alone time for the last time, before they all heard a quiet voice. Sakura-chan, I can't breathe. Several years later. A woman with bubblegum pink hair and emerald green eyes is watching her child playing with the other kids on the playground near the academy. They were playing a simple game of tag, yet, no one could catch her child, seeing as he was smaller, therefore, has much more speed and agility. She was proud of her child, whose hair shone like the sun, mismatched eyes that sparkled like a sapphire and an emerald, whisker marks on each cheek, cute little fox ears on top of his head, which twitched every so often, and a dainty little tail that was the same color as his ears, orange, with rusty red tips. She remembered the day well when he was born, like it was yesterday, when in reality, it was 6 years ago. Her husband was so nervous, barely able to sit still, she was later told. Her mentor, Tsunade, now the god I'm Hokage for almost 12 years, had delivered her child, and wouldn't allow him in the room while the baby was being delivered. By the time she saw him, he looked like he'd been to hell and back. But when he held his son, he looked like a delighted child with a new toy. He was that happy, and in awe. She was abruptly snapped out of memory lane by her loud-mouthed son screaming, "Mummy! Mummy! Look what I found! Look! 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 Look!" He stopped right in front of her, waving around a dull and rusted shuriken. She smiled and kneeled down in front of him, holding out her hand. "Next time you find one of these, make sure to give it to an adult, okay? These are not children's toys, they're for ninja. Do you understand, Minato?" 1. Minato nodded and handed her the shuriken, a solemn look on his face. Quite suddenly, his eyes lit up in excitement and he asked, "Mummy, do you think I can become a ninja just like Dad?" Do ya? Ha, ha, ha. Sakura just laughed, and nodded, putting the shuriken in her pocket and picking her son up. "Of course, Minato-chan, you can do whatever you want when you get older. Oh yeah, I have a surprise for you." He held onto Sakura's shirt tightly in one hand and bounced in her arms. "What is it, Mum? Can you tell me, what is it?" Sakura laughed again. "I can't tell you or it's not a surprise." She lightly touched his nose with her forefinger. He giggled and grabbed her finger, finding it extremely fascinating at the moment. She giggled again and made her way out of the academy grounds, towards the Hokage Tower. They briefly stopped at an ice cream vendor for 2 popsicles, and then continued on their way. Once they reached the tower, Sakura went in without hesitation, following the same route to the office of the Hokage. Several voices came from the door that was guarded by 2 Anbu, one with a bear mask, the other with a pig mask. She smiled at the both of them, offering a small nod, before entering the office. There, Tsunade was talking to another blonde, who was crossing his arms irritably. Beside him, was Sasuke, who had his mask, which was a wolf, tied at his waist. He looked irritated also, but only because the 2 blondes would not stop arguing. He gave Sakura a small smile and wave, but otherwise, stayed still. "Fine, you win, Granny. What do I have to do?" The younger blonde caved, slumping slightly. "Oh, don't worry about that now. There are other things that require your attention right now." Tsunade smirked, pointing behind him. He turned, and blue eyes widened in slight shock and happiness at seeing his wife and child there to see him. "Daddy!" Minato screamed, making Tsunade and Sasuke cringe from how loud it was. Naruto just laughed and knelt down, arms open. Minato scrambled out of his mother's arms, and ran to his father, who was laughing and twirling his son around. Minato was laughing and shrieking in delight. When Naruto finally stopped, Minato rested his head on Naruto's shoulder, his arms around his en. Naruto turned to Sakura and gave her a one-armed hug, pecking her quickly on the lips. "Welcome home, Naruto-kun. How did the mission go?" Sakura asked, resting her head on his other shoulder, with his arm around her waist. "It went great, too easy. Nothing can stand up to me and Sasuke," Naruto boasted, grinning foxily. She giggled. "Now, Granny, tell me what you want me to do so I can go home with my wife and kid." Naruto scowled slightly at having to be in charge of something. Of course, he is Anbu captain, but still, that's enough work in itself. She opened her mouth to reply when the doors burst open and a haggard Kakashi came in, his clothes his hair matted with sweat, and his breathing irregular. On top of that, his mask was missing. His eyes found Naruto rather quickly and he ran towards him, hiding behind his form. "Please, help me, Naruto. They're evil, and they won't give up. They're evil, evil, there." He set off abruptly when Anko, Shizune, Kurenai, Ayami and several villagers came crowding in the office. Kakashi uttered a whimper and tried to make himself smaller. "Kashi-chan, come on out, we only want to talk, we won't bite, hard," Anko grinned, stopping right in front of Naruto. "Hey Naruto, mind giving us Kashi-chan?" Anko asked innocently. "No, Naruto, be a good friend, please don't let them get me. I beg of you." Kakashi wept anime tears, clutching Naruto's pants. Naruto thought a moment, and then grinned rather devilishly. "Oh Kakashi, I do recall you reading a certain orange book in the presence of my son, so I don't think I can spare you. And besides, I think they'll maul me if I protect you, and I'd rather stay in one piece." Naruto smirked and let go of Sakura's waist to move out of the way. He went and stood safely in the corner, holding in his Snickers. Quite suddenly, the room was filled with K intent so powerful, Sasuke's legs buckled from under him, and he broke out in a cold sweat. Every girl in the room emanated K intent towards Kakashi, who was paralyzed with fear. What's this? Reading that stupid book in front of Mina-chan. Shizune growled, and the girls began to advance on him. Kakashi chuckled nervously before craning his end towards Naruto and screaming, "You traitor!" All at once, they converged on Kakashi and carried him out, Sakura joining the group, M in her eyes. Naruto and Minato began to laugh hysterically. Minato was only laughing because his uncle Kakashi was going to get beat up by a bunch of girls, and Naruto because payback was sweet. Tsunade coughed to get their attention, and Naruto slowly calmed down. Once he was done, Tsunade placed her hands on the desk and said, "Now, the thing I want you to do is simple." Outside, Sakura was clapping her hands together and making her way back to the Hokage's office when she heard a scream that made the whole tower quake. What? And then, a thump. Worried, Sakura ran the rest of the way, and when she got there, Minato was poking Naruto in the face, asking, "Daddy?" She looked quizzically towards Tsunade, who only smirked and said, "He is the new Rokudaime in training. And he got the news. You should know what I'm talking about. I swear, the brat can make his enemies go deaf with the volume of his voice." Tsunade stuck her pinky into her ear and cleaned it. Sakura began to laugh. "I wonder how he would take it. Hey, I didn't expect him to faint." Sasuke chuckled and went up to Naruto, kicking him in the ribs. Naruto groaned and sat up, holding his head. "Daddy, you're alive." Minato hugged his father, smiling. Ignoring Minato for the moment, Naruto said, "I had the weirdest dream. I dreamed that Sakura-chan was pregnant again. I am, Naruto-kun, you're going to get a baby girl." Sakura said, laughing as Naruto's face changed from confusion to awe to as faint. "Oh no, Daddy's S." Minato screamed, and ran to Sakura, tugging on her kimono. He pointed to Naruto and screamed, "Mummy, Daddy's S. What do we do? What do we do? What do we do?" He began to run in circles around Naruto's body. "Daddy, Daddy, Mummy, heal Daddy. Who is going to take me out for ramen if he's S?" Everyone burst into laughter at his antics. Naruto groaned and sat back up, immediately laying back down when Minato tackled him, crying, "Daddy, you're alive. Will you take me out for ramen? Please, I'm hungry." After that life and death experience, he tumbled over the word. Experience, Minato-chan. Sakura corrected, still laughing. He nodded vigorously, what she said. Everyone laughed again, and Naruto smiled, and nodded. Minato began to jump around in glee, letting Naruto stand back up. He immediately went to Sakura and embraced her. "I can't believe I'm getting a baby girl. A girl. This calls for ramen," he announced, picked up Minato, and paraded out the door, Sakura following behind. Tsunade shook her head, and smiled. That will be all for this video. Be sure to like, subscribe, share, and comment down below for more videos. Goodbye.